to the House Nerds. I'm Jenny Morris.
And I'm David Lawson. It's good to see you today, Jenny.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. We have an exciting thing that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about landscaping. Spring
Yeah.
has sprung, David.
Yeah. There's so much that goes into this along with all the other house parts of the house, but it's an afterthought for a lot of people. But we want to talk about how it's integral to the whole process of building a house. A lot of HOAs require that a landscape plan be submitted with your documents. A lot of cities require that, and it's not for no reason.
Yeah, the reality is that in the home building process, you are removing and moving the earth that is surrounding the property. And once that is completed, once your dwelling is in place, it is absolutely imperative that you cover and protect that soil so that when the next winter comes or weather comes, it doesn't wash down the
That's right.
drain or down to the next, neighborhood. It's absolutely imperative you want to retain as much of that ground as possible to protect your foundation.
Yeah, and there's lots of different types of landscaping, right? That we can put around houses. Some HOAs have specific requirements about how much grass or green space or how much rock or this and that. But really, we want the landscape to complement the home. You've designed this home, and we want the landscape to bring your eye to that, to be part of it, but also be a place that you can enjoy. You would get to enjoy the inside of your house, and I get to talk to people about that all the time philosophically, or up, practically, how do you use the spaces inside your house? But really, during that process, we should be talking about how you use the spaces outside your house almost just as much.
Yeah, nowadays it seems as though there's a real push for bringing the outdoors inside. People are using a lot of different doors and screens in order to allow for there to be a very seamless transition between the inside of the dwelling and the outside. Bringing that outside inside just kind of creates a more open feel to the floor plan. But also, I don't know about you, but I love water. And so I'm always thinking about how can I integrate a waterscape feature of some
Sure.
sort. It always is a peaceful add-on that really isn't that expensive to do, but it really creates a peaceful experience. But with that, there's a lot of pre-planning that needs to happen. Where's your electrical going to be? Where's your
Right.
water, outlet
Water
going to
source.
be? And pumping and also draining if necessary. You really need to think about those things ahead of time so that your other landscaping and plants are not going to be negatively affected.
Yeah, and not just for waterscapes. We need to be thinking about water and power for the landscape, holistically. And we really need to know where the utilities are in the ground because you're going to be trenching for irrigation in most places in the country, and setting up timer systems. And we want to make sure that those are smart and use water effectively so we can help educate people on putting in smart systems that will turn off when it rains, for example, things like that. So I know that you want to educate people across that process because you want to make sure you have enough money saved for your landscape. And I'm trying to help people also educate them on the design part, making sure that they've thought about those things, so that they can use their space.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about curb appeal. Curb appeal is a huge part to the resale value of a dwelling, so of a home. You and I both know landscaping plays a huge role
Yeah.
in really kind of creating that ambiance and the look of the house. It's your welcome mat per se. So
Yeah,
it's
and you know
very
when it's not been done right in a neighborhood, right?
absolutely.
When you drive by a place and you go, I don't like that house, and it may not be the house, it may be the landscape. So I'm not a landscape designer myself, although I work with landscape designers, but I still try to educate people on the process to make sure they have all those pieces of the house that they need. Some people, especially when I'm working with people who are building their own homes, they haven't considered those items in their budget. And so I really want to, focus on or stress how important those pieces are to wrapping up your project and making sure that you've got enough money at the end of the project to do the things that are necessary, like we said, for erosion control, for curb appeal, for using those spaces.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want to happen is to get to the end of your build and realize you don't have enough money to make it look pretty
Right.
on the outside. That would just be so unfortunate. And look, it takes time sometimes. People do home building in stages sometimes, and we understand that, we get it. And we want to support you in the idea of pre-planning so that you can pre-budget, so that you
Right.
can be you know, have the resources waiting for you in order to be able to move forward in a timely fashion. Because truly, if weather hits, it really can be a disaster on a new build site.
Sure. I want to talk real quick about one of my favorite ways to landscape. I love this idea that's come out in recent years of agriscaping. You've
Mhm.
been to our house and you know that we use things that are usable, the fruit trees and various plants that are all edible around the house. They've been done in a way to make the house look attractive, but also everything around the house is usable. Now, I didn't design that. We had an agriscaping expert, and we can you know, refer you to him. There's several agriscaping experts across the country, but if that's something of interest to you, I really love, house being usable, using all your usable space, but outside we've got space too where we can grow our own food and have these things that are useful to us that we can enjoy and look pretty and meet the needs and requirements of our HOAs and cities and all that stuff. So,
An agriscapist is also a professional who understands soil and will probably take
yeah,
a soil sample in order to determine what type of amending needs to happen, if
right,
any amending needs to happen, and then also determine what plants are going to thrive in your particular area. The worst thing that can happen is you spend all this money on landscaping and all your plants die because they're in the wrong zone.
right.
There's
Don't go to
planting
Home Depot
zone.
and just buy something that's pretty.
That's
You
right.
mentioned zones, and we have multiple zones in the United States. You've got to buy things that are actually going to grow in your zone. And the best plants are the native plants to your region as well.
That's right. And they support the ecosystem in general with all
Right.
of the creatures and our animals that are living amongst us as well. So
Right. Cool.
yeah, so that's landscaping.
Yeah. Hit us up if you want to know any more about that. And we'll look forward to talking with you and seeing you next time.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great day. Bye.